He's the most inspiring man I've ever met in my life, on every level. He understands the heart and he understands the soul.
There's a moment when you change your life. There's a moment when you make a decision. When you say, I do, I love you, let's begin, I quit, it's over.
I just think Tony's a genius. I truly think he's a genius. He can alter people's lives, and I mean really alter them.
For over 3 decades, Anthony Robbins has touched the lives of millions of people. He is called upon by leaders from every walk of life. He has met, coached, or consulted with U.S. presidents, as well as world statesmen like Nelson Mandela and Mikhail Gorbachev, Princess Diana, and the Dalai Lama. Over 3 million people have attended his seminars from 100 nations around the globe, and over 35 million copies of his programs have been distributed worldwide. The New York Times writes, "The world can't get enough of Tony Robbins." Former President Bill Clinton says he has a great gift. He has the gift to inspire. Diane Sawyer asks, what does Tony Robbins have that everyone wants? The answer is, he's got the edge, and he gets results. Results for people like Mark Burnett, Emmy Award-winning producer of Survivor and The Apprentice.
What Tony really gave me was the desire to take risks, take action, and really become something.
For more than 30 years, champions rely on Tony Robbins. He has coached the most elite stars in sports. From the 4-time champion San Antonio Spurs to NBA super coach Pat Riley.
Tony Robbins is simply a great friend, a great mentor, and a great educator.
His strategies have led to extraordinary turnarounds, like Greg Norman's PGA Tour victories after his 1996 Masters loss, and helped the great one Wayne Gretzky bring his team from the basement to the Stanley Cup Finals. Tony has brought his peak performance skills to champion tennis professionals, like Olympic gold medalist and 8-time Grand Slam winner Serena Williams.
Tony was able to tap some strength inside of me, and I was able to carry that not only to the tennis court, but just to bigger parts of my life, and I can't thank him enough for that.
Accenture's Institute for Strategic Change ranks Tony one of the top 50 business intellectuals in the world. He's an owner and helps run 11 companies dedicated to products and services that improve lives. And he has guided numerous entrepreneurs to success, from startups to billion-dollar industry icons. Introducing Tony Robbins' most dynamic business training program ever on radically transforming your sales, management, and marketing systems. 32 sessions with the world's leading experts, available for the first time in one place. The ultimate business mastery system.
Hi, I'm Tony Robbins. Welcome to the Ultimate Business Mastery System. How to maximize your sales, your management, and your marketing to be able to thrive in any economic environment. It's a pretty big promise, isn't it? Listen, I want to first thank you for participating and congratulate you, because how many people do you know who talk a good game about how they want to take their business to the next level, how they want to succeed, how they want to turn their dreams into reality, but how many actually ever do anything to figure out how to get there? Most people get into business and they have a vision, they have excitement, they have a passion. They get into it, they start doing things, they succeed for a while, and then within a short period of time, they run into challenges, and what do? More of what doesn't work. Or the economy changes. You started in one economy and you got this great technological advantage, or you're first in the marketplace, or you just have great people, but then the market changes and people don't adapt. So the fact that you're here right now with me and that you didn't just want to invest in this program and make the investment, that was a small part. You actually opened the program and you're starting to work on this here, hopefully with yourself, and maybe if you have some other people with you, some people together so that we can really move forward. What I really want to do is entice you and give you an overview of what this is about, how it works, and how you can maximize the results. So you don't just watch one DVD, but you get the full sense of the comprehensive, absolute turnkey business mastery program that's in front of you. Something that can take your business to another level and take your life to that as well. And I want to tell you, you've begun a journey that you will not forget as long as you live. That's a really big claim, but it's true. And I'll tell you how I know. Because I've had the privilege of working with literally hundreds of thousands of business leaders from all over the world and millions of people. 3.5 million people I've worked with over 30 years from more than 100 countries. And I've helped them to turn things around. My job is create peak performance. I get paid for results. And I got to be able to turn things around when they seem like they're extremely difficult or virtually impossible. And I've had the privilege of doing it and building quite a track record over those 3 decades. But what's really great about this program is it isn't just me. I'm going to bring you the most comprehensive group of experts, partners of mine, dear friends, teachers, associates, the people that over those 3 decades I've seen produce the biggest changes in businesses, grow businesses that were static or falling apart, or take businesses that were successful and boost them to a whole nother level. And you're going to get a chance to chunk it all down, to break it down into some bite-sized chunks where you start to take in these strategies, not just learn them, but implement them a step at a time in your business and really see those measurable results. Now, how can I make those promises? Well, for 30 years of my life, I've been obsessed by a question. And that question is, what makes the difference in the quality of people's lives? Why is it some people in business or even in life seem to have every advantage? Everything's been given to them. The right timing, the right market, the right technology, the right insight, or just an average person. Did you ever notice how sometimes the people that were given everything, they were given love, support, education, money, very oftentimes those are the people that spend their life going in and out of rehab. And then you see people that seem to have everything against them. You know, they didn't have the money, they didn't have the education, they didn't have the background, but something inside of them was so hungry that they were driven to find the answers. They were driven to find a way to add value to other people's lives, and they found a way to thrive, to succeed, to achieve, to contribute on a significant scale. What is that difference that makes the difference? For these 3 decades, that's what I've been obsessed by, and I've had a pretty large laboratory. I've gotten to work with these 3.5 million people from 100 different countries. So I've gotten to see what works, and frankly, at this point in my life, I could be an idiot, and I'd have to say there are certain patterns that cause people to succeed in business and in life, and there are patterns that make people fail. There's patterns that psychologically and emotionally make us not use our ability, make us get frustrated or angry or overwhelmed or uncertain or scared or fearful, and freeze up and not use that ability, that talent, that skill. And there are other patterns that will get you to own yourself, get you to be able to influence your own team, get you to influence customers. What I found over that time period is that 80% of success in life, whether it be in sports, business, finance, I've worked in all those areas. From the Andre Agassi's of the world to, the ultimate fighting champions, like Chuck Liddell. I've worked with people at every stage over the last 20 years, and I've helped them produce results like that. One of my clients has been the President of the United States, a couple of them. I've had the ability to work with some of the top business leaders. I get the call when things start burning down very often, when people want to go to the next level, or when the child is suicidal or the adult and I got to do something. Or in the 30 years, I've never lost one suicide, by the way. It's one of the things I'm most proud of in my life. Because once you understand what drives people, you can know how to change them. There are a whole series of films showing how to change that. And I tell you that even though you're in business, because if you're in business, the business you're in is people. The more you can understand about the psychology of yourself and other people, the more you can master sales, management, marketing, and business. Even the ability to innovate comes from understanding what people need, not just what they say they want. So over that time period, I've been able to do those turnarounds. I get the phone call, true story, from the President of the United States when he says, I'm going to be impeached tomorrow, President Clinton. And what do I do? And my first response is, could you have called me sooner? And so I've been had to produce results in a short period of time with all kinds of different people. And the tools I've learned is, again, 80% of what changes somebody is making that psychological change. 20% is knowing the mechanics. Now, don't get me wrong. I work with one of the top financial traders in the world. This is a man who's been my client now for 18 years. He's a man who in 1987, when the stock market had its biggest single crash percentage-wise in a day, even based on today, that day when everyone was freaked out, he made $500 million that day. Now, you can't live on that, but it's a good start, right? And then he lost money for the next 2 or 3 years. Here's a guy who knew what to do. I was hired to come in and turn him around. He's made money every single year for 18 years. because of me modeling the strategies of what to do. I didn't model just what to do. I also figured out what was keeping him from following through. This program is going to give you both the philosophy, which most people don't want, but philosophy is what controls the way you think and feel and gets you to do stuff. So many people know what to do. Like, oh, I know that, but they're not doing it. They don't do what they know. We're going to change that in this program. But also, this program is 32 DVDs filled with strategies, with tools, with actual step-by-step pieces. Here's how you double your sales, and we've done it with company after company and proven it. Here's the track record. Here's the companies. In this program, you'll see companies that had explosive growth that started at zero and now are $1 billion in sales. And they'll tell you, I'll interview the CEO, he'll tell you how applying what we're showing you in this program exploded their sales, in some cases 1,500, 1,600% in a matter of literally a few weeks. How do you get the appointment? How do you manage your time? How do you hire the right salespeople? How do you really go out and make those technical changes, those mechanical changes that matter, but also the psychological ones as well? Do I have your interest? Good. Then let me also tell you that I'm not some superhuman guy that hasn't screwed up and hasn't learned a lot from all of his problems and pain. One of my biggest lessons in life early on was to realize that success leaves clues, that I could compress decades into days if I could learn more from other people's experience than just my own. But I also realized you got to apply what you learn and prove that it really works. It's great if you can help other companies succeed, but I'm personally an entrepreneur. So if you're a business leader, a manager, or an entrepreneur, I can relate to you. I've been in all those positions in a variety of industries. While you may know me as, the turnaround expert or the peak performance coach, I certainly built the largest brand in the industry I started in. But I'm an entrepreneur. I've built these companies in hospitality. We have Fiji, we have a place called Namali Resort and Spa, the #1 resort and spa in the country there. We built it literally from scratch, from 3 little bures, and built it into 525 acres and 3 miles of ocean frontage. And I did all the innovation and the design and the creation and the marketing. I've been a part of all those things that I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about things that change people's lives, whether it's going to a hotel or whether it's nutraceuticals. If you know Twin Labs or Metabolife, I took those companies out of bankruptcy and turned them around and started creating new jobs and opportunities and how to get those products back out to the marketplace and help people to make their bodies better. So whether it be in medical coaching or whether it be in the hospitality business or whether it be in any type of industry where I thought I could make a difference, I've entered those industries, I've applied the principles, and they've made a difference. But I've also had, just like you had, I've gone through recessions. I've gone through the good times and the challenging times, those different economies. And I've had to figure, I've been on the edge where it's like, oh my God, how are you going to hold it together? Am I going to be bankrupt because things change so quick and we didn't anticipate it? So I'm seasoned not as some guy with ideas and principles. I'm seasoned as a guy that's lived it and worked with millions of people. And I tell you that just so you know why I'm qualified to introduce to you not only my content, but how I was able to assemble all these incredible people that you're going to have an opportunity to learn from. So why did I create this program? The Ultimate Business Mastery System. Because I wanted to maximize sales. I want to maximize management. I want to maximize marketing. That's what makes a business go. I mean, think about it. Ultimately, the only way you succeed in business is add more value for other people than anybody else is adding. Peter Drucker once said, business is only 2 things. It's really innovation and marketing. And you'll hear me say that again and again because everything else, the accounting, everything else supports those 2 things. Ultimately, innovation is constantly finding a way to add more value for our customers. Never getting caught up thinking, oh, we've got our customers locked, we've added the value. It's like, how can I drive them more crazy? How can I add more value to them? How can I find something they need and want that they don't even know they need and want and deliver it for them? The companies like Google, the companies like Zappos, the companies that have found a way, the Amazons, to constantly innovate, those people have also had to figure out how to market. You can have the best ideas or product in the world, but if you can't market it, if you can't sell it, and if you can't manage it, you got a real problem. So innovation and marketing is it, and I thought, gosh, in all my companies, I come and I preach these things. I go out to the world and I teach companies, but I come back to my own companies and I'm always referring it, reminding them, stepping in. And plus I have all these friends and I bring them in at different times, but then you have new people join your company and it's almost like starting over. As if a company's growing, you bring on new people and you got to start over. So I said, wouldn't it be incredible to have one system that was really about the core of all business, that really was going to give you that advantage in selling and marketing and innovating and managing it all? what if I could do that, bring my friends together and put it into a form that people could go through, not just one time, but something we could use again and again in our business for decades to come, where the principles and the tools were literally timeless because they've been proven in any economy. During the tough times, the recessions, and during the great times when everything was just expanding. What are those ongoing principles that have worked, that I've used to turn businesses around, turn myself around, turn people around? Wouldn't it be incredible to create that? That's how this thing really got started. And I thought, how many people have had the privilege of being able to sit down with somebody like Tony Hsieh at Zappos, spend the day, get to know him, and walk around and really see how a company goes from nothing, a couple of guys, in a rented spot up in San Francisco, to $1 billion in less than 10 years. And to go in Zappos, if you've ever been there and see this culture where people are so excited to come to work, when the economy's worried out, they're not worried at all. And what are they selling? Shoes. A bit more than that, but it started out just as shoes. But they got the real idea: innovate, meet customers' needs, find a way to add more value. And if you do that and market it well, you start to dominate. So I'm going to introduce you to Tony Hsieh. You're going to get a chance to meet a gentleman that started, a company to build homes in Mexico. He had no money, just starting it out, and in a very short period of time, built it from 0 to $1 billion. I'm also going to take you into small businesses, because I don't know where you are in your journey. I don't know if you're an army of one and you're just getting started, and you're a chiropractor, you're a dentist, you're somebody who does creative arts or advertising or whatever the case may be, selling real estate, or whether you're a good-sized business that's maybe jumped up to that 10 or 20 or 50 or $100 million, or if you're $1 billion. Here's what I know. Wherever you are, this program's going to make a difference if you commit to it. If you don't dabble, if you say, I'm going to immerse myself, I got a chance in this one product to literally go in and learn from the best of the best in the world, train myself, if it's just me or myself and a few team members, and then I can come back to this again and again at each stage of my business and take it to the next level, through any economy, through any environment, and really, really thrive. Big promises, right? But here's how it's worked. I've not only used it in my own businesses and large companies I worked with, and you'll meet some of our clients, but also I started a team up. About 12 years ago, I had this experience. About 17 years ago, I met this man named Chet Holmes. Chet's an interesting guy. He has this interesting background. He's worked with 60 of the Fortune 500 companies. He's written one of the top sales books in history, The Ultimate Sales Machine. But also, he had this interesting history of actually working with Charlie Munger. Charlie Munger, you may know, is the multi-billionaire, again, Warren Buffett's partner. But Chet, at a very young age, had the privilege of working with Charlie and working in 9 different divisions for Charlie. Chet's one of those guys that always was number 1 in sales. He just was never number 2, never has been. And he took what he could figure out being around this environment, and he helped Charlie to double the sales in 9 divisions in 12 to 15 months. In a few of those 9 divisions, he actually multiplied and doubled the sales literally in 2 and 3 years in a row. So I've known him for 17 years, came to one of my seminars, and we became friends. And then about 12 years ago, he kept pushing me, saying, let's partner up. Let's go turn around businesses. And I was like, my gosh, I'm already doing that. I got so much in my life, so many businesses. There's just no room. And he kept pushing and pushing. And he's so persistent. And he's so sincere. And he's not only brilliant, but the guy has a consistency to him. He just doesn't give up. And he's masterful in what he does. So gradually, when I finally looked at the economy and said, look at what people are suffering through right now, they really need guidance. If there's ever been a time that businesses need to know what to do to take advantage of this, it's now. And a lot of businesses have this misconceived notion that, you can't grow really during a down time. What you'll find as you go through this program is some of the biggest companies in the world, the companies that you'll recognize the name of immediately, I'll save that for our first session, all started during deep, deep recessions, down economic times. That's what gave them their benefit. That's what gave them their lead. Other companies have been around. If they didn't get fearful and they did the right things, they jumped. So I thought this is the time for Chet and I to partner together and then bring in the best of all that we know. So we began this process, and we did it with some of the companies and did some turnarounds. We applied it to companies we're involved with personally, saw these huge changes. And then the next thing I did is I have this group of platinum partners that helped me with my foundation, helped me to feed 3 million people. And I started working with them, and they all invest $65,000 to get in this relationship and to learn this information. And we started doing this immersion training with them, and they saw giant changes in their businesses, but also in their enjoyment of their business and enjoyment of their life. I really believe that success without fulfillment is failure. If you just succeed and you don't enjoy yourself, what's it for? So I was really proud of the results that were happening. I thought, wow, this is the best content. So we wanted to expand it. I said, let's start doing business mastery programs. Let's do 5 days, total immersion programs where we can bring in the best of the best. And I said, let's film it and let's put that into this program, the program that now is in your hands. And so people who went to that program paid $20,000, and some of them had more than one person there, so they've invested quite a bit more in that. And I tell you that because in my own life, one of the things that I learned early on is that when you pay for something, you pay attention. Now, you stole this thing by contrast because you didn't go to $65,000 program or $20,000 program or an additional program in Fiji. This is really the culmination of the best of all those programs. So, you got this in your hands, and I just don't want you to take it for granted. That's really what I'm here for. I want you to get excited about what you can do for yourself and your business, and I want you to commit some time. Most people don't. Give me the quick picks, let me write a few things down, and they don't follow through. If you're gonna master something, you gotta give it some consistent time, just a little bit of time of either total immersion, where you do it all at once, or a little step at a time, so you get those results. So how do you do this program? What's it about? How do you do it? And how do you maximize results in the shortest period of time? The first thing I'll tell you is that there are 32 DVDs in this Ultimate Business Mastery System, so it'd be very easy when you see it to get a bit overwhelmed to start with. But we wanted to create for you the most value possible, and we want to create an integrated system that you can do step by step that would really turn your business into the ultimate marketing innovation machine, a turnkey process, so you can not only get results today, but train your team literally for decades to come. Now, you can overcome the overwhelm of 32 DVDs by looking at it as 3 parts. Real simple. You'll see it's gold, blue, gold. The first gold section is 8 DVDs from me. It's on the 5 disciplines that allow you to thrive in any economic environment. It's going to help you make the changes in psychology and walk you through the strategies that are necessary. The blue section, the middle, is going to be 12 DVDs from Chet Holmes, my partner. And Chet's going to walk you through the strategies he used for Charlie Munger, that he's used literally for Fortune 500 companies, as well as small businesses, companies where it's an army of one, where it's that one person who's in sales or marketing and they're kind of building their business. And he'll walk you through how to apply them. Everything from how to set a meeting with the top decision maker at a Fortune 500 company and how to truly break through, to the detailed strategies that allow you to steal business. Literally annihilate and take business from other people. When I say steal, I don't mean doing it unethically. I mean, it'll feel like stealing because people that apply these strategies have such an advantage. Things change immediately. So you'll have those 12 DVDs, and that's kind of the section that's really about how to go from 0 to 100 million or 0 to a billion in your business, depending upon the size of your industry and the place you are in the history of your company. Then the third section, going back once again to gold, is 12 DVDs, and it's 15 of the best experts we know in the world, and everything from marketing to management to culture. These are people that have done it. Some of them own their own businesses, like the Tony Hsiehs, for example, or the CEO of HomeX, who helped to found it. Or there are individuals like Jay Abraham, people that have been around for 30, 40 years, have worked with tens of thousands of businesses and cross-pollinated and consistently produced tremendous results. And you kind of pick and choose. So how do you make this happen? How do you follow through on this? Here's what we suggest to you. There's 4 choices. Whichever way you do it, pretend you're at the live seminar. In other words, don't just sit passively. We're here delivering this for you, and if you were at the live program and if you had paid $30,000 or $40,000 to bring a couple of your people to that program and you were involved in it, what kind of notes would you take? When we did an exercise and we said, write this down, or I want you to try this with your partner, people don't pause. They're there to get the most value. They don't take it casually because they're in the environment. Don't cheat yourself. Put yourself in the environment. Now, how to do it? 4 options how to do it. Option 1, we believe, is the best option. Total immersion. What do I mean? The reason we do live events, the reason I do seminars is you could do something one step at a time, one little piece, for 1 week, for 52 weeks, take 32 weeks and do this. But it's not the same as when you live, breathe, taste, experience, your mind is focused. That's where you see huge breakthroughs in the shortest period of time. So ideally, what you do is take yourself and your team and go off and take 4 or 5 days or 2 weekends and go for total immersion. It's emotional, it's psychological, it's strategic, it's powerful. That immersion will transform your business as fast as anything you can imagine. And then you can come back and over time, take a DVD each time. You can take one a week or whatever the case may be to get that repetition and to make sure that maybe once a week, you're applying one strategy. Now bear in mind, we set you up here and we gave you a coach with this program who's going to be on the phone, helping you to identify what are the areas that are most important to you. So that's part of this as well. But total immersion would work. Or come to Business Mastery. Come spend 4 days with us. We've got it tighter now. And come by yourself or come with your team and then use these DVDs then as the follow-up system to spread the word that you've experienced literally in a couple of days. But the first step is total immersion. That's ideal. Second way to do this, well, you could say, okay, I'm not going to do total immersion, but I believe in the value of immersion. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to chunk it down for myself. Let's take myself and a few of my core team members, and let's take every Friday or every Monday, and the second half of the day, we're going to block out 4 or 5 hours, and we're going to just go into total immersion. And over a period of roughly 4 weeks, you'll find the core of this program, those first 20 DVDs, my 8, Chet's 12, the core of everything you need to know before you sample some of the best experts will be done literally in a month. And most people won't do this. Most people go, oh, I don't have time for this. So why don't they have time? Because they're so busy doing their business, they're not strategic. They're not working on the business. And so somebody else who's strategic can take away that business, can take advantage. So you want to give yourself this time. So if you don't want to do it in total immersion, do it in kind of spaced immersion. And again, just take a day, a Monday, a Friday. And for 4 weeks roughly, you can get this job done. Third option for you, you could say, okay, well, I'm going to do this one a day for 20 days, or I'll do this program one a week and, sometime forever from now, 32 weeks from now, I will have it. You certainly can do that. There is one more option that's really important. We designed this program to be specific and sequential. To start, for example, with making the psychological changes that I do in those first 8 DVDs and showing you how to influence people and how to manage your time and each step that needs to set you up so that you follow through. Because again, lots of people know what to do, they don't do it because they haven't made a shift in themselves or in their people or in their culture. So we're going to give you some real clear plans that will allow you to execute, give you a real plan to increase your business by 1/3 to 250%, literally right away. That's going to be, our second DVD in my experience with you, walking you through so you have a plan. Listen to me on that. Our second DVD in my system is going to have you sit down and say there's only 3 ways to grow your business. I don't care if you sell technology, you're B2B, you sell to consumers, you're an individual salesperson, chiropractor, you've got a business that's $1 billion. There's only 3 ways to grow your business. If you get that, and you do what we show you in this DVD with your team, you'll have a plan to grow your business from 30 to 250% minimum that is real, and you'll have designed it, but it's based on fundamental principles that work. So we have a system. The first part starts out with philosophy and goes to strategy very, very quickly. You'll go into Chet's program, you'll walk through that system. So ideally you go through linear, but you might find yourself in a position where, I was talking to a CEO not long ago, and this program was just coming out, and he said to me, well, God, I love the program, it's huge, but I don't know where to start. And he said, I just don't have time to do this program. And I said to him, do you know, that our 5th DVD is on really how do you take control of your time and your life? It's a system that I've used to build a dozen companies, other people have used to turn their companies around. It's the ultimate time management system because it doesn't just manage time, but it manages people and resources and get you results. Maybe what you want is to do what I call the 4th approach would be a surgical strike, where you just say, I need to know the time management and go straight to that one and get that piece inside of you. Or somebody else is saying, well, God, I need salespeople. I've got some good salespeople, but they don't believe in the economy. They don't know, they feel people aren't buying anymore. Consumers are hanging on or businesses are hanging on to their dollars. And I said, well, then maybe for you, the place to start if you're feeling that overwhelmed is go straight to the middle part of our program. You'll see it laid out. It's in the middle of Chet's program. It's how to get the best salespeople in the world, and it's no exaggeration. When he walks you through what to do to screen out people, how you test them, so you don't have to go through people that you train and spend so much time with. You're going to know up front whether they fit the best of the best, how they're going to perform. I mean, we really have these tools. If you're in a place where you're saying, gosh, our meetings are just not effective, well, we've got a whole set I've designed here a whole part of our program, how to run a meeting. I mean, nobody teaches you how to do that, how to run the most effective meeting possible. I had one gentleman, he started focusing on how to work on recruiting new salespeople, and then he started saying, well, here's how to train them to get an appointment with anybody, here's how to set up the follow through. And once you enter the program, you're gonna get yourself immersed. So, total immersion is one choice. Go off with your team, think about it. You take 2, 3, 4, 5 days for a vacation over time and try to rejuvenate yourself. If you want to rejuvenate your business, if you want a lasting change, then go for that immersion. Point 2, do spaced immersion. A Monday, a Friday, take half the day, 4 or 5 hours, knock it out in a month, those first core 20 DVDs. Third approach, go do this thing, one a time, 1 day at a time, do 1 DVD for an hour for 20 days. Not my first recommendation, but if that's what you can do, do it. Or 1 a week forever, or do the surgical strike. Does this make sense? Whichever approach works for you best, we want to help you, but our ideal is there is a sequence, stick with it. Some things are going to grab you more than others, but they all will come into play for you and your team in the end. And remember, again, we've given you a coach with this program to help you to maximize your results. So if there's any questions you have, if you need any clarification, or even if you don't, they can help you move this ball along even more rapidly to get results and show you how to measure those results. In fact, if you want to, our team can do an audit with you. We consider it a CEO audit. What we do for Fortune 500 companies is 126 questions. We can come into your company if you want and go inside your company and find out what's really going on and bring you a report and a target of how to go about this. If you're a targeted company, that you're a smaller company, an army again of 1 or 5 or 10 or 20 or 30, there's about 26 questions. So know that's available to you. But ultimately, let's just get you started now. That's the purpose of this. This is our fast track to get started. So what we want to start with is that gold section. So here's what's coming to give you an outline. You're already in DVD number 1, so let's go to number 2. That number 2 is really the beginning of this program. It's going to be really on invincible leadership, invincible psychology. Ultimately, as we've already talked about, it's what do you do when people on your team think they can't turn things around, that the economy's shut down, or we've maximized our capability, or we don't have enough resources, we don't have enough money, we don't have enough contacts, we don't have the technology. How do you get beyond that? Or how do you change your own psychology? Because ultimately, remember, 80% psychology, 20% mechanics. So we're going to start with that. And again, you're going to want your team or yourself to step in like you're in the seminar, yell back to the screen, raise your hand, write down and do the exercises. That's how you're going to get real results from this. After we've gone through that leadership component, that first introductory session, then the second session is really how do you grow your business? And as I said, there's only 3 ways. We're going to walk you through 2 things. First, what are the 5 questions that you have to be able to answer to be most effective in growing your business? If you don't know the answer to these questions, you're going to find yourself growing and then having challenges. And these are not 5 questions you ask once. Like the rest of this program, you're going to want to come back to those 5 questions and make them part of how you do business. They will give you that competitive advantage. Then you'll begin to break down in that second DVD, what is the plan with you or with your team? And you're going to be able to codify exactly what it takes to grow 30 to 250%, or if you come up with a more aggressive plan, it'll be there. But we want a plan that you really can act on. So the first DVDs get you started, sets the philosophy, orientation, important. Second DVD, we're going to get into the hardcore. What is the plan that's going to make that turnaround for you? When we get to the third one, what do we talk about? Everything in life is innovation and marketing. So once we know a bit about how you're going to market and how you're going to grow your business, how are you going to innovate? That's our next DVD. What are you going to do so that you constantly create raving fan customers? That's going to drive customers crazy. Just when they think they know all the value you can give, you're going to give them even more value. And still do it economically in an intelligent way, where you can still have a good margin, where maybe you develop a brand because of the value you add and because of your innovation that makes you the leader, the dominant force in your particular industry or field. That's what we're best at. So once we got the psychology, we got the clear plan for growing, and we got the innovation, what's next? Well, clearly you need a plan on how you're going to be able to influence people. I don't just mean leadership skills, I mean sales processes. How do you manage? How do you work with competitors? How do you create strategic alliances? Whenever you got to influence somebody, there is a process, a simple process to structure any presentation, any negotiation process that's been proven to work year after year in just about every kind of industry you can imagine. So that process of really understanding what we call the football field of influence, I think you're gonna find extraordinarily important. And then finally, number 5, you need to be in a position where you can master your time. It's not just your time though. Have you ever been in a situation where you organized everything and your planner, whatever it was, what it was, your telephone you did it on, or whether you did it in some paper planner in the old days or on your computer, and you had your to-do list? How often does that whole to-do list get done? And even if you get it all done, sometimes you can mistake movement for achievement. You get everything done and you didn't do what was most important. We're gonna show you how to organize your life by outcomes, by results. And how do you maximize not just time, but people and resources in a really simple system we call the rapid planning method, or RPM. RPMs are like, how do you, in a car, get from here to there faster? You increase the RPMs. Once you learn this system, it'll change the way you think about managing your time and your life forever. And it'll give you an immense amount of fulfillment. And most importantly, your whole team can learn to do this. And then finally, it's all about, the next DVD is integration. How do we make sure that while you're getting this business to be successful, it's not just about wealth, it's also about happiness. And while it doesn't sound like much, the secret to Tony Hsieh and Zappos is their entire concept is to have everybody be happy. They market happiness, they deliver happiness. They deliver happiness for their customers, they deliver happiness for their employees, they do it internally with themselves. Again, if you're successful but you're not happy, what good is all this? So it's gonna bring you back to how to integrate this so that you're gonna wanna follow through. And the last DVD with me is gonna be an interview with the founder of HomeX, a company you may not have heard of, but the largest company in Mexico that building homes, and now becoming the largest in India. Since we started working with this company, as I told you, explosive growth. And we'll walk you through and show you, I'll interview him and he'll show you what we did and how we did it to be able to help him grow, and also what grew his business from 0 to $1 billion. So that's your first gold section. That's what we're gonna start with right now. Then you'll go on to the blue, and then you'll go on to all the other experts. Now, or you'll do it whatever way you're gonna do it. So here's the last thing I wanna share with you. If you really think about it, as you start this program, this journey is an extraordinary journey. If you immerse yourself, yes, but also you don't have to do all of this to be incredibly successful. Sometimes when we think we're the furthest off, we just need to make a little tiny shift. It's kind of like if you're heading in, let's say, a particular direction, you're heading in this direction, and then all of a sudden we make a little 10-degree shift. Maybe you hear Jay Abraham speak. I mean, he's been with 10,000 different companies, one of the best marketing geniuses I know. Or maybe Eben Pagan. The guy started out, literally not knowing anything about business, living in his trailer, and he built one of the largest businesses on the internet you could ever imagine. Or maybe one of other 5 internet experts that can show you how to do the social networking. One of the business players there literally started with nothing. He's got, 5 employees, I believe, and he built it to doing $1 million days with very few moving parts. If you're in a traditional business, you might want to know how to use those tools. Or, maybe it's Stephen M.R. Covey, who gives you that little insight and says, this is the ultimate competitive advantage. Here's how you get people to trust you. Because people don't trust companies very much anymore. A big company, they run an ad. How many of those ads do you really believe? But when other people tell them that this company is right, this company delivers, what's the number? 75% that say, that's a company I'm interested in doing business with? How do you produce that trust in a matter of minutes? So whoever's gonna give it to you, Tony Hsieh on the culture and how to build that, all those different experts, whether it be me, or whether it be Chat, or whether it be any of our experts, and they don't say you don't change everything. You just take one of those little tools and you do it each week. You add a little step. You follow through and you recruit salespeople a new way. You make this little change. But you take that out a week from now, a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. You end up in a totally different destination. The littlest changes can make giant shifts in your business. And in this product, in this Ultimate Business Mastery System, you have hundreds of mini workshops with actions you can take, decisions you can make that can shift your business and your life forever. So I said to you, this could be a journey that you'll never forget. It'll only be that journey if you get started. So let's not wait any further. Let's get started right now. Either go to the shotgun approach or start with me on the very next DVD. If that's true, let's get into this invincible psychology, the ultimate advantage. And I'm very excited to be able to start this journey with you. And I thank you for your process. And I look forward to hearing the story of how this program has changed your business and changed your life. Live strong, live with passion, and God bless. Hi, it's Tony Robbins again. Welcome to session number 2, Invincible Leadership, the secret to explosive growth. Another big promise, isn't it? But ultimately, let's talk about this for a moment. We've said that Peter Drucker, one of the greatest business experts in history, a guy who could really help turn around and grow businesses, believed that all business really is this concept of innovation and marketing. That the more strategic you get about how to add value to your customer, to do more for them than anybody's doing, that's the ultimate competitive advantage, but only if you can also market. All the stuff, those got to be managed, right? Somebody's got to lead it. I mean, when you see a business and it's been around for decades and all of a sudden it starts to go down, what's changed? Well, for decades, economies went up and down. For that business to go down, what's changed is the leadership. In my experience of working with literally hundreds of thousands of business leaders, as well as millions of people, and God only knows how many companies over the last 30 years, the one thing I've seen is, if you have the right product, but you got the wrong people that really don't understand how to meet customers' needs, people that have gotten used to doing things the same way and they got bad habits, people that aren't hungry and driven, and if you don't make a shift with those people, you can take the best product and you can destroy that company with the wrong leader. On the other hand, I've seen over and over again companies where they had a terrible product, but they got the right leader or the right leadership team, and they found a way to make it work and to make it successful because they can adapt it. Leadership is the ultimate advantage. Now, who's a leader? Every single person in the company can lead. They can lead a division, they can lead change, they can lead progress. But ultimately, if you're watching this, whatever division or part of this company you're in, whether you're a small company just getting started, a middle-sized company, or a really large corporation, something that's been around and doing hundreds of millions or billions of dollars a year, individuals are how companies change. They change when those individuals find a way to add more value. Think about it. What creates a breakthrough in a company where suddenly that value is found, a new way to meet customers' needs? What creates a new marketing breakthrough? What causes someone who's been selling a certain way and all of a sudden they start reaching everybody? That breakthrough always starts with a change in psychology, a change in a person's beliefs, a change in their emotion. You know, they were locked into a mindset of this is how you do it, and it got old and stale. And one day they started to innovate. Or one day they said, you know what? The economy does suck, but you know what? It's not going to suck for us. You know, I've interviewed some of the top business leaders, managers, innovators, turnaround experts, salespeople. I remember one time years ago, I met this woman named Marty Rodriguez. She was at the time a woman who'd gotten in sales. She came to one of my sales seminars. I used to do these one-day programs of total immersion about how to get the economic edge, how to have the edge of influence. And I saw her for, I don't know, maybe it was the 8th time she'd been to the same seminar, sitting in the front row, taking notes like crazy. And I finally went up to her because I found out she was the #1 salesperson for Century 21 in the world. In the world. She was at the time selling more products, more houses per day than most people would ever dream of and doing in months. At one stage, she was selling more homes than the entire multiple listing service in the city she lived in Glendora, California. I mean, this woman, I watched her do well in good times and horrific times. In good times, everybody joined and she still outdid them. In bad times, everybody quit. All the mortgage brokers, all the realtors, and she had this open market to get more of her brand ownership. And when I talked to her, I said, what are you doing at this seminar? I mean, you've been to this thing, what, 8, 9, 10 times, 7 times? How many? She said, I've been here more than a dozen. I said, you're in the front row for 12 hours taking notes like crazy. I mean, you sell an average of 1 home a day? She said, yeah. I said, then you're losing a sale today. I said, I'm not trying to talk you out of it, but why are you here? Because underneath it all, I thought I knew the answer, but I wanted her to say it. She said, Tony, I could go out today and sell. I could go out and just do my business and do better than most people. But how do you think I got to be #1 in the world? My entire focus is creating breakthroughs, Tony. You know this. She said, I can keep doing what I'm doing, or I can come here and I can hear something. And even if it was the same thing I've heard so many things that I'm not applying. You say it yourself, Tony. Repetition is the mother of skill. If I hear something the first time, I might start to understand it intellectually. And that's the mistake you hear from most people, right? They, oh, I know this. If you're not doing it, you don't know it. Don't lie to yourself. If you're not getting the result, you're not applying it, you have intellectual understanding. And intellectual mastery, that's helpful. It's a first step. But understanding something cognitively and thoroughly saying you know it intellectually, that and $3 will almost get you a Starbucks. You got to have more than intellectual understanding. It's got to become emotional. And that's what she said. I get in this environment with these people, total immersion, and the emotion hits me. And she says, I hear the stuff again, the repetition, I get it in my body, and now I start to follow through. Repetition is the mother of skill, but you can't just think it, you got to feel it. Where were you on 9/11? I bet you can remember vividly where you were, because you didn't just have information, you had information that emotion was attached to it. Where were you on 7/11 of the same year? I bet most people can't remember unless something really emotional happened that day, your birthday, a breakthrough, whatever the case may be. The point of the matter is, you gotta go from intellectual and emotional mastery to doing it enough that it gets in your body. That's what we wanna do in this program. We wanna introduce you to some concepts, get you started on this path, and get it in your body so you actually follow through. That's why we also created a way for you to listen to this on audio. First time on video so you get immersed, but then you can do it with net time. No extra time. When you're driving in your car, when you're going on your run, when you're working out. So the sales tool or the negotiation tool or the way to get the meeting or the way to manage your time or the way to grow your business, it starts to get inside you. That's what masters do. Breakthroughs, again, are breakthroughs in psychology, they're breakthroughs in emotion, because that's what changes your actions. That's what this first DVD is about. So on the surface, you might say, oh, you don't get to the core stuff. Well, if you want to do that and you think core is what to do, go to the next DVD and immediately find out the 3 ways to grow your business. But I'd hesitate. How often have you known what to do and not followed through? Let's take a little time, just this one. Pretend you're in a seminar. Put yourself into it. The people that paid $20,000 or the ones that paid $65,000 for the platinum version, those individuals, they did every exercise. They took notes like crazy. When someone said do an exercise, they didn't just watch the tape, they did it. They got it in their body, and that's why they got results. That's what I want to encourage you to do as well. Does it make sense? Great. And hopefully you've already watched the first DVD that explains how to use this program. It's very brief. You might want to take a look at that if you haven't already. But if you have, let's get you going right now. Here's what we're going to do. Before we start the actual, quote, seminar, the way we started out live is we have everybody sit down first, and I want you to do this now. I want you to make up your wish list, your action list, your outcome list. Here's what I want you to know. With you, or you and your team, whoever's here, I want you to take 5 to 10 minutes. Before you go any further, I want you to stop this DVD, and I want you to write down every change you would ideally like to make in your business, every improvement, every transformation, anything you'd like to master. And I mean anything. It could be something related to sales, marketing, management, time management, some way to change the culture, some way to influence people, how to turn your team around, how to turn yourself around. I want you to write down any challenges you have in the business, any problems that need to be solved, any goals you want to achieve, and specific things that need to be changed. Make a list. Ideally, if you have some other employees with you or other partners or associates with you, jot them all down for please 5 or 10 minutes, share them with each other, and then turn this DVD on and begin the seminar. And again, pretend you're there. Step in, yell back to the screen, because that's what's going to keep you in a peak state. Research shows if you sit back passively like this, you won't remember 10% of what we talked about. But if you write down notes, if you'll yell back the answer, if you'll be playful with this, your energy will be strong, and you'll be like you're in the event, and it'll make a lot of sense. You'll be in a place where you get real results. All right? So stop the tape right now, stop the DVD, write down any changes in this business that need to happen, any improvements, any problems that need to be solved, that's your ideal wish list. And here's what I can promise you. In these 32 DVDs, in these 3 sections, this first group of 8 where you're going to go through and get the psychology and the plan, the change, the group with my partner Chet Holmes where you're going to go through and go, how do I go from 0 to 100 million or a billion? What are those strategies? With the experts we have, the answers are there. Plus, remember, you have a coach available to you who can get on the phone and walk you through how to get to the next step. All right? So this is just the setup. Stop the DVD. Come on. Write down your list. Don't just jump in there so you know why you're doing this. What are you looking for? What's your outcome? What do you want to change? And then why do you want to change it? Why is it so important? If you made those changes in your business together, what would it mean? What would it mean financially? What would each one mean? Put a number on it. So what do you want to change? What do you want to improve? If we made the change, what would it be worth to us physically, emotionally, financially for this company? Then turn on the DVD and I'll be arriving back, but this time I'll be live at the seminar in Las Vegas with 500 business leaders from around the world, and we'll begin your process. All right? Live strong, live with passion. Let's begin the process. Stop the DVD now.